Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
One Ass Cheek, 3 Toes with your host, Brian Biestrilla on.
If you talking and talking me nice, I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion. The game is in trouble, I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle, I got it for real. Still keep me going, I wake up and hustle, you won't see me buckle, I've been in the field. Man of the town, you been in your fields, I'm adjusting this crown. Call me your majesty, either that or your tragedy. We shutting everything down. I've been hot like somebody put a candle on them. Off top, I don't really stand opponents, this mine. The moment is run out and start a bunch of pandemonium. More game, I got some. The skill is bar one, y'all done. The game in the coffin. Referee scream rest in peace and think twice if you next to me.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to One Ass Cheek and 3 Toes. I'm your host, Biestrilla. How are y'all doing out there today? It is Friday, people. Friday. Pretty much kind of the end of free agency as far as the week is gone for the NFL. Kind of the end. Everything has died down a whole bunch. We still have a bunch of players out there that could be significant to teams. Green Bay, Patriots, they're all looking for receivers. Maybe this is the time that their general managers spring up on that whole situation. We hope so. I don't know what the Lions are doing, but that's another whole that's another whole show, by the way, which will be on at 4 p.m. on Sunday, March the 16th, sorry. And that'll be with my co-hosts Nate and Jay. So tune us in that day. We'll be talking a bunch of football, not just the Lions. Lions will be a big meat of it, but just football in general. And today we're going to do a little twist because things are quiet on the front. We're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs and just what your views are of them. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Brett, I saw that date. We signed him earlier this morning, actually, and that's great. I'm glad to hear that. 1-year contract. We'll keep seeing that. Hopefully that he gets more catches this year and shows more of what he is. That way we can sign him to a more lucrative deal. It depends on how he plays this year and how everybody behind him plays, because we still have Green and Bell. So we'll see what goes on with that. But we'll get into the NBA playoffs real quick. I just want to let you know that the top seeds, we're getting close to that time of the year. And we got the top seeds in the Eastern Conference are Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Cleveland is playing out of their mind. Boston is basically a 3-point shooting team, and they get hot real quick with that. So that's how they've been winning a lot of games. The defense ain't too bad. In the Eastern first round, we would have at this moment the Detroit Pistons playing the New York Knicks. Unfortunately, the Pistons lost last night to the Wizards, 129-125. That kind of sent them back a little bit. And then the 5-seeded Pacers will play the 4-seeded Milwaukee Bucks. And what up, Nate? And
what up, man?
the Eastern, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, man. Just working.
The Eastern play-ins for the NBA are going to be the number 10 seeded Bulls, and they're going to be playing the number 9 seeded Heat. And the 8 seeded Orlando Magic will be playing the 7 seeded Atlanta Hawks. So that's what we're standing at right now. In the Western top seeds at the moment are OKC and the Memphis Grizzlies. That's like 2 odd teams, ain't it? OKC has Shea Butter. You know who that guy is, the MVP. And then in the Western first rounds, we got Golden State versus Denver. That's going to be – if that's a series that's going to take place, that's going to be a very good series. That's a
bad matchup for Golden State. That's a bad matchup.
Yeah, it might be a bad matchup.
They don't have the size to match up with Nikola.
Yeah, but Stephen Curry is Stephen Curry.
Oh, that's true.
He's always an equalizer.
Yeah, I would give Denver the
Houston going against the Lakers. LeBron is out right now, and the Lakers show it because they've lost 2 in a row. Pretty bad, too. In a Western play-in, it'll be the Dallas Mavericks, who is holding on to dear life against the Sacramento Kings, and then the LA Clippers will be playing the Minnesota Timberwolves as the 8th and the 7th seed. So this is where they stand right now. We still got a couple of weeks to go before playoffs start.
Yeah.
And, I think Detroit's going to do well. They had a little setback last night against the Wizards, but they've been playing overall pretty well in the Basketball Association.
Who's Detroit matched up right now with?
They're matched up with your Knicks.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
You said you didn't like that one.
No, yeah. I don't because the Detroit has a lot of athleticism, and they like to run, and the Knicks like to play more of a half-court offense, and it's all gonna matter if Jalen Brunson's gonna come back healthy. I mean, I think he should be fine, but you never know. Like, we need him. Without him, I don't think we can win that series.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, the Pistons are gonna probably be way motivated. It came from nothing last year to what they are now, and they have a very good coach right now. I think he should be coach of the year as long as they continue to do good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And they play defense.
They play defense.
That's the main thing.
That's a Detroit moniker. I mean, Pistons moniker is playing defense. I never know why they always try to go with offense. I remember when they tried to do that with Grant Hill. I was like, dude, and Jerry Stackhouse. I was like, dude, you guys got to play defense though.
Well, they didn't do that with Monty. So yeah, they went back. To defense with Bickerstaff.
Yeah, that's what they needed to do too. Yeah, and over in the National Hockey League, those playoffs are coming around the corner as well. And your Eastern first round matchups are the Senators at the number 1 Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay at the number 2 Toronto Maple Leafs. Sorry, Blue Jays. Toronto Maple Leafs. And then at the number 2 spot is the Washington Capitals against the Washington Capitals versus Columbus. And then the New Jersey Devils will be playing against the Carolina Hurricanes. Hurricanes are playing pretty good hockey right now. They're one of the surprises I've seen around. The wild card right now, as it is the Senators and the Blue Jackets. Detroit's pretty far out of there. They've had a collapse lately. They've lost 6 games before they managed to beat the crap out of somebody. So they're still 2 points out of playoff or out of the wild cards. I just don't know if they're going to make it, though. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I think that 6-game loser streak just cashed it in for them.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you're fighting to get into a spot, for sure.
Yeah. And on the Western first round will be the Calgary Flames against the Winnipeg Jets. I don't think the Winnipeg Jets were that good.
Jets.
The Colorado Avalanche, and they're going to go against the Dallas Stars. The Minnesota Wolves will be going against the Vegas Golden Knights. And the Edmonton Oilers will be going against the LA Kings. Their wild cards are let's see what their wild cards are real quick. Minnesota Wild and Calgary are the wild cards. Vancouver could make a run for it. And
how many wild cards can you have in hockey? Is it like football? 2?
No, it's just 2.
Oh, wow.
And Vancouver is like on the precipice of what do they got? How many points they got right now? 71. So they're basically tied with Calgary, so they can get up there. And check this out. This team just got into hockey, a Utah Hockey Club. Simply, that's their name, the Utah Hockey Club. They got 69 points, so they're looking to try to get in the playoffs too.
That's pretty impressive for a first year. Shoot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Knights did it, so it's not that it's not too bad. But those are your right now playoff standings for both leagues, for the NHL and the NBA. And like I said, I don't think that as far as the local side of it, I don't think that the Red Wings will make the playoffs, but the Pistons are certainly in the playoff hunt, and they probably might move up a couple spots if they start doing what they were doing, 4 or 5 games ago.
I think that slot where they are right now is fine. I wouldn't want to move
if they got to play the Knicks,
because,
it'll be
I mean, but that's a good barometer. That's a good barometer going into next year.
Yeah.
They
I
see
think
how
they'll
they
be
fare
better
against the Knicks, and then see what they need to improve in.
Yeah, they got a young core, so it's not like they have old ass people that they got to get rid of. So that's a good thing for the Pistons right now, and they got a coach that's going to sit there and drill them about stuff, and that's really
the young core. They have the coach, man. You get the coach right, you can get it wherever.
Yep. If you think about it, I mean that's basically what the Lions did. They got younger, and so they got a coach to coach them younger players up.
Yep.
And then it's the same thing with the Pistons. They did the same thing. The Red Wings, to a certain extent, because the Red Wings do have like 3 or 4 veteran players on their team that start. So, but they just, hockey is a funny game. And if you get a certain guy hurt or if a certain guy goes cold in hockey, your team is screwed. Mm-hmm. So, not like basketball. Basketball is a little more team oriented, although I do say that, you can have one guy on there and score all the points and still win games. But
I mean, they're both
it's more
team oriented. I would say basketball is more. I would say basketball is more star driven for sure.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have guys that are gonna ball out game in and game out.
Right. Mm-hmm. You got it. So back on the football track, we did sign Tim Patrick as wide receiver back again. And we did, and Brent was on that too. And as far as any other NFL news that we have, I got to ask you a question too, Nate, about a Garrett comment that was made. But first, for today, the Chiefs re-signed running back Kareem Hunt to a 1-year deal, 1.5 million.
They need to draft a running back. Pacheco is not a starting back.
Well, Pacheco when he got hurt, Pacheco's a good running back.
You need a big bruiser kind of. He's a scat back. Like you need somebody who you can give at least 20 carries a game. You can't do that with Pacheco.
It depends on your offensive line too, though. Your offensive line is, put it in count. Jahmyr Gibbs is not a bruising running back. But because his offensive line is good, he's effective. That's what we use Mounty for those third ones.
Gibbs isn't afraid to mix it up either and get in.
Neither is Pacheco. Pacheco runs through the tackles. Yeah, he runs through the tackles all the time.
The problem is that with the Chiefs, nobody talked about this, but one of the biggest reasons why the Chiefs lost that game is because they couldn't run the football. And
because their offensive line. Their offensive line blows.
The thing is, too, they hadn't run football all year. Even when they had their offensive players, they need to be able to be balanced because when you go against a team like the Eagles who have a very good pass defense, they're going to take away the pass. So you have to be able to run the football. One thing about the Lions is the reason why the Lions have been so successful is because the Lions can do it both ways. You take away the run, we can pass the ball. You take away the pass, we can run the ball. Now,
however, the difference is KC actually got to the Super Bowl. The Lions didn't. So because they had to depend on their offense too much. And see, and they did have the offensive line to do all that stuff. See, KC didn't really have a balance. Whatever you say about Tooney, whatever, okay, it don't make a difference. One guy is not the whole offensive line. You had your weak guys on that offensive line, especially at the tackle position.
They could definitely upgrade the line, but the thing is they never really committed to running the football. That's my point. Is they're not. You watch KC games, and I watch a lot of KC games. They did not run the football effectively. They would literally throw the ball most of the time. So when you come up against an Eagles defense who's planning on shutting down the pass and putting a hell of a lot of pressure on your quarterback, and you don't try to run the football, not even try screenplays or anything like that, you're screwed.
Who needs running backs when you got zebras?
Well, that's another story. But you know what I'm saying. Like they have to go back to running the football. Like you have to be able to run the football somewhat to keep the defense honest. If you don't do that, then you're putting that more pressure on that line to have to hold up and protect, and we saw that happens. That's not their thing. Like that's not what a lot of those dudes are known to do. They're more probably wanting to run the football, but they have no choice, and they got exposed. So that's all.
Yeah. Other free agent signings that they had today was Bills. They signed Dane Jackson, cornerback Dane Jackson, to a 1-year deal. The Colts signed cornerback Corey Ballantyne, which was a Packer, if you remember.
Oh wow, lost another
And
cornerback.
Chiefs signed quarterback Bailey Zapp to a 1-year deal.
Who?
Bailey Zapp. You remember Bailey Zapp? He played for New England.
No, I know. But who are you talking about?
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
They signed him as a backup.
They signed him, and they also signed Minshew.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. 2 failures of life. Patriots signed offensive lineman Wes Schweitzer to a 1-year deal. These people with these names. The Vikings signed linebacker Eric Wilson, who used to play for the Packers last year. I'm sure Packer fans everywhere are just ecstatic about that.
I think he was on the Vikings. I said they re-signed him.
Are you sure about that?
I think so.
It didn't say re-signed. It said signed.
Eric Wilson.
So, yeah. Eric Wilson. I think Eric Wilson did play in the Packers last year.
There was a Wilson that did play in the Packers, but I don't know if it was that guy. But I'll check. Go ahead.
And then Chargers signed linebacker Delshon Phillips to a 1-year deal. Dolphins signed tight end Pharaoh Brown.
No, you're right.
And the Eagles signed long snapper Charlie Hugolet to a 1-year deal. Yeah.
It's the dog days of free agency.
Oh yeah. What do you call it? What was the word you called it?
Just Jag. Just a guy.
Just a guy.
I am surprised that there is some big names, like we talked about it. There are some big names that haven't signed yet, and it makes me wonder, like, are these teams waiting for their demands to go down before they sign them, or are they waiting after the draft to see what they can get, and then if they don't get, then they can go pluck from those guys? It's really interesting to see what their aspects are with some of these players that actually can play, that still have some left in the tank, possibly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you know the Chiefs were at? Well, hold on a minute. Chiefs were. Man. So just the Chiefs. They're in the middle of the pack. No, they were down there. Where they at? Damn it! I just saw them. I hate this small print. Yeah, they were in the bottom half of the league in rushing. They had 1,790 yards rushing.
Yeah, they were one of the worst, dude. They didn't even try to run the football. And I think also, too, to be fair, to your point, part of that was because the fact is that they did not trust their line to open up a lot of holes, but they didn't even try, man. Like they just did not try. Like they maybe ran less than 10 attempts a game, and part of it too is because Pacheco was out most of the season. Like he came back at the end, but even when they came back at the end, they still didn't run the football.
Yeah, I remember that. Brent.
Yeah. You gotta commit, man. You gotta commit to running the football. It's still a part of the offense, not just throwing the ball.
So the other thing I want to bring up about Myles Garrett, he made a comment yesterday that said he admits frustration and said the Browns can be a winner. Dude,
yeah.
I don't want to hear that because you just sold back to them because you got the bag. Don't sell us this false hope about you going to a Super Bowl with them. Nope. You got the bag. That's what you wanted.
What else is he gonna say? I mean, he has to be honest.
Say nothing. Say less. Don't say nothing. How about that?
Yeah, that's it. But we know these athletes. They like to speak. They get in their feels and
they sound stupid when they do it. So shut the fuck up. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of hypocritical. There's no doubt about that.
So let's go to another subject too. Yeah, I'm Myles Garrett. I'm just done with him. So how do you feel about this is another thing I'm going to bring up too. Who do you want to see your team draft in April? Who do you want to see the Lions draft in April, Nate? Who was a particular player you want to see the Lions draft? Either move up in draft or stay at where they're at in draft. Whoever you want. Who do you think you want? You would like them to draft.
So first off, I'm a big Texas A&M fan. Like, if people don't know where Texas A&M's in Texas, and they play in the SEC. So I watch a lot of SEC football. So A&M has produced Myles Garrett, has produced what's that dude's name from Baltimore? God, I have a hard time saying his name. The D tackle. What's his name?
What for the Aggies?
Ravens. No, for the Ravens. Yeah, he came for the Aggies.
Oh,
but
for the Ravens.
He's on the Ravens.
Anyways, starts with an M, isn't it? Marmabuke or some shit like that.
Maduke. Whatever. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So they've produced him. They've produced Myles Garrett. They've produced Von Miller. So they have a track record of producing ends. And a guy that I am really, really high on is Nick Scorton from Texas A&M. He actually played at Purdue, and then he transferred to A&M and just balled out. And this guy has got good size. I think he's like 6'5", about 260-ish. Good get off, good hands. I think his game is gonna produce to the next level. I would love to get our hands on him if he falls at that category. That would be a guy I would target, is Nick Scorton from Texas A&M. And Detroit met with Nick at the combine. So, those are important things, because if you take your time to meet with somebody, more than likely you have a lot of strong interest in this person. And because if you look at the last
not
draft,
a lot of people though, let's not candy coat that, because they met with a lot of folks. I think Detroit met with a lot of players on their first day.
But they had a personal meeting with some players, and usually the personal meetings they have, they draft those players. Laporta, Branch. I think they did Gibbs too. Yeah, because Monty met with Gibbs. Yeah. So I'm just saying, I mean, that they have strong interest in this guy. Like they really want to talk to him and see what he's about and see if he's a fit at some point. He's a guy I would target. Honestly, where we are in the draft, I don't think we should trade up unless you find an end that falls, like an Abdul Carter for whatever reason. Then the Lions could look at something like that. There's rumors that Will Johnson's not going to be doing a pro day because of a hammy injury, so he could fall too. I don't think he's gonna fall that far, but he could fall. So I don't know. I mean, like, this is a crapshoot draft, and I think that the Lions, in a perfect situation, I would like the Lions to trade out of this pick, trade down and get some more assets, and then maybe move up in the second round to somebody you like. But
there's not nobody past. I don't think there's anybody past 16 that's going to be better. I mean, all they're going to be is backups at that point, and they're probably not going to be, for backing up for the Lions for a while. This is a bad draft, dude.
Yeah, but
it's a bad draft.
I also think players are.
I'd rather them trade and get picks for next year, and just trade out of that one spot and just give up the one and get a one for next year. You know what I'm saying? Give me your one for next year, and I'll give you the one for this year, maybe a 1 and a 2, and I'll give you that. Unless they decide they want to move up, which I think that's what they should do. They should actually move up in the draft to get somebody past.
But give me a name who you would move up for.
I'd move up for Will Johnson. What's the other cornerback's name that's available as well? There's 2 cornerbacks that are available in the top 16. I can't remember what the other guy. Hold on a minute.
I mean, Will Johnson's a possibility, but then don't you feel like you have overkill with Will Johnson, Terry and Arnold, and DJ Reed?
I mean,
if you did, here's the thing: if you didn't sign DJ Reed,
I mean,
Will Johnson makes a lot of sense. I'm with you on that, because Will Johnson, I think, is gonna be a damn good cornerback. There's no doubt about that. But you just signed DJ Reed, dude. So I think cornerback's off the table unless you get somebody later on. You know, I
and
think
again, that's not going to be.
I think you have to come away with an end, man. The fan base will flip shit if we don't get an end in this draft.
I mean, that's pliable too. We gotta do that definitely. Yeah. So it's like I said, if we can't get an end, and I'm sure there's more ends available in the first top 16, and there are
it's a decent
obvious
draft.
corners.
Yeah, it's decent. Yeah, it's not a deep draft, but it's decent. Like you could probably get a good end, probably at least second or third round. I would say there's some good names out there. You know, Jay likes the Pierce guy from Tennessee. I'm not a big fan of small, speedy pass rushers. They don't always transition to the NFL. Von Miller and, you know, who else was a small pass rusher that was pretty dominant? Von Miller comes to mind. He's like, you know, he was an anomaly.
What about Abdul Carter?
Oh, dude, I would love to get Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter is Micah Parsons 2.0. I truly believe that. The problem is with Abdul is I think the farthest he falls is maybe 5. So you're gonna have to trade up. You're trading a first.
There's another guy.
First, and possibly.
Like I said, in the first 16, I mean, there's like
a
lot of folks that I would probably get. Like I wouldn't mind getting Mason Graham, defensive tackle. He could probably take the place of Reeder eventually.
Yeah.
Offensive tackle Kevin Banks. We're going to need a tackle pretty soon. There goes your tackle right there.
Yeah, and you could play him at guard early on, and then he can go back.
You said you didn't like James Pierce, did you?
I'm not a big fan of him. He's had some character issues, and he's a smaller guy, but he's like fast. It just screams James Houston to me, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
What do you think about Will Campbell, offensive tackle from LSU? Do you think he'd be better than
honestly, B, I'm not taking a tackle in the first round. I think that if you really want to tackle, you can kick the tires in the second or third round and get a tackle if you want to go that route. I'm not taking a tackle in the first round.
So Shamar Stewart's the guy you're talking about, right?
No, Nick Scorton. Shamar Stewart's up there too. He's a Texas A&M guy too. Yeah, he's another big guy. Honestly, like the two positions that I am honing in on in the first is guard or ends. Any other position, I'm like, I don't know, man. You gotta persuade me to take that position. Because if you look at it, the Lions have already loaded up on D tackle. They've already loaded up on cornerback. I mean, you know, linebackers solid. You've got enough linebackers already. You know, there's no safeties I would consider taking. You know, so I mean,
not this draft, that's for sure.
You're pretty solid at the defensive side, other than the ends. I mean, now if a big name of a defensive tackle drops to you, then that's a possibility. Yeah, sure. I mean, you can always have more D tackles. You know, but I mean, I think we're pretty good right now. I think we've got a good depth, you know, and we'll get Mac back at some point. So I mean,
I'm not too happy about the say. Well, I mean, we got Brian Branch and Kirby, but those are our starters. This is what we got as backup. But still, if one of them gets hurt, we have Lauren Strickland and Eric and Hallett as the backups.
Yeah, you could definitely use another one, but you wouldn't take a safety in the first round. You'd probably take a safety in the second.
No. I would probably get a safety off free agency that's is a better player than either of those two, and just have them played second spot.
I mean, we lost Iffy, so we have to make a move for somebody.
Yeah, we gotta make that shit up. Yeah. Let's see. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners right now on the roster. Got Maurice Norris, Stanley Thomas Oliver, Amik Robinson, DJ Reed, Enos Registraw, Taron Arnold. So those are the ones that we have right now. I still think we should get and you know what? And you're right. I don't think we should necessarily have to get one as a draft, but I do think we need to pick up a small one as an insurance policy out of free agency. They don't have to be a corner.
Corner. Yeah, cornerback. Isn't it? You're talking about cornerback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody that's
you can
flashy, but
develop somebody. Yeah, for sure.
Let's see who they got.
I'm just not taking one in the first round. I mean, unless Will Johnson falls into your laps, which I doubt he will, but if he fell to your laps for whatever reasons, then yeah, I mean, I think you take Will Johnson for sure. Hometown boy that, if he was healthy, probably would be a top 5 to 10 pick. So absolutely.
We still have 2 as unrestricted free agents, and that's of course Emmanuel Mosley and Khalil Dorsey.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it's possible, man. I mean, you look at the Eagles. They didn't expect Quinyon Mitchell to fall to them and get Cooper DeJean in the second round. So I mean, cornerbacks very well could be a drop because a lot of people like the tackles. A lot of people like maybe go quarterbacks. They might like a quarterback, or they might like the defensive ends or something like that. There could be a run on those guys, and the cornerback could fall down. So it's a possibility, or even what's the Lions draft pick? Where are we drafting?
28th.
28th. Okay. So let's say for whatever crazy reason Will Johnson falls around 15 or 16. I could see Brad moving up for that easily. Move up 10 spots to get Will Johnson. And
amazingly enough, if you're going by the draft board, and if every team picked in their position, which that's not going to really happen, but if they did, Malachi Starks, safety from Georgia, would drop right at 28th.
Yeah, and he's a possibility too. If they
that's
really,
pretty funny, actually.
Brad loves the SEC and loves the Big Ten and Pac-12. He loves those conferences, like most coaches do. But I'm just saying, Brad loves those conferences. So I could definitely see him taking a Malachi Starks.
What, like the SEC?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you have Terry and Arnold, and you have guys like Brian Branch already on your roster, that they talk to each other. So they can get inside information on, hey, look at this guy, or consider this guy. I'm sure Brad, checks their pulse sometimes and asks some questions. Hey, who's this Malachi Starks guy? Tell me about him. You played with him for a year, or you played against him or something like that. Tell me about him. What's his character like? What does he look like? How is his family? All that stuff. He definitely gets some good intel for sure. That's why I think they ideally passed on Jalen Carter's, because I think he got enough information about his background and the character issues he was dealing with. They're like, yeah, man. I mean, the talent's there, dude, but I don't know. This guy could be a head case at some point. But
until that rears its ugly head, it's still Philadelphia's great grab.
Oh shit, yeah, but I'm not upset, because we got Gibbs, and Gibbs can be a superstar just like Jalen Carter can be one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not upset.
I mean, it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna hit bat 1,000. I really think it's gonna be guard or end, man. That's what I would go in first, guard or end. I know.
I would probably go. But see, the problem with that is, I mean, the offensive line in general in the draft isn't the greatest either, but it's a lot better than any other positional play. Unless it's a defensive end. Defensive tackle is okay too. It's like defensive end, defensive tackle, and then I think the offensive tackle, then the offensive line, except the guards and stuff, like the centers and stuff. And then everything else falls below that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty deep at the guard and tackle position.
Yeah, but the quality, not the quantity, is what I'm talking about. So most of the defensive end position is kind of deep. So you can probably get somebody in the second or third round that'll make an impact on your defense.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Defensive tackle, I'd probably say the first or the second round. Offensive lineman, though, I would have to go first because after the first round, it kind of falls off just a little bit as far as that's concerned. Well, at least tackles are
let
good.
me ask you this question, because now that Kevin's with the Titans, who are you starting at guard in this season if before the draft even happens? Semo, yeah, I would agree with you. Semo is definitely going to start. And who else?
Skipper is the backup.
Yeah,
he can go anywhere. I'm not impressed with Manu yet to put him out there and say he's going to be somebody that's going to start. They're working with. He's a project. He's a project guy. That's
I would
what
like to
got
see
him
them
for.
work with him in training camp at guard and just kind of get his feet wet. But I mean, I agree with you. I mean,
they were probably doing that the last training camp. It's the issue is
I think he was playing primary tackle, but yeah, I don't know.
And he wasn't. I don't think he was doing such a good job at that either. But like he's a project.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah. Sure. But you got to take the training wheels off at some point.
Yeah, well,
I
don't want to take them off when you're in a ride or die situation in the playoffs or anything.
Every O-line has weak links. I mean, like the thing is that losing Kevin leaves a big hole because he was your best lineman, and also too, it has to be Skipper. I don't think that they go into the season saying we're going to start Graham again, because Graham was the worst lineman. Like, Graham has to go to more of a reserve role. I would still keep him on the team, but as a reserve.
Look at Brett says the only edge they hope they stay away from is Shamar. And sorry, Brett, I'm just kind of looking at all kinds of stats and stuff. That's why I haven't got to your comments yet. He said that they should stay away from Shamar Stewart. He's got 27% missed tackle rate.
Yeah, he's hit or miss. He definitely is. I mean, he's shown flashes. I would definitely take Nick Scorton over Shamar, but I think Shamar's game probably translates quicker than Scorton does. I don't know.
I just saw him, Wyatt.
But back to the guard thing, I think honestly, too, like. Yeah, I just don't know. And even with Semo had 2 games. He had one really good game and he had one really bad game. So you don't even know what you're going to get out of Semo in a full season either. So,
I mean, his dividends have been paying off more than most people.
Yeah, I mean, the potential's there. Yeah, the potential's there. Like he killed in that first game, but he looked overwhelmed in the playoff game. Like, that was one of his worst games. Well, he only played 2 games. So, yeah, the sample size is very small, but the potential's there. And I think that's another reason why they moved off Kevin, because they like what they see in Semo. Also, too, and we talked about this, I think, a couple of shows ago, Mekhi Becton's still out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shit, get Mekhi Becton, and then you can still draft a guard later on or develop one.
Yeah,
I think that would be an easy plug and play. I mean, he played on the best O-line in the NFL.
Well, look at this though. Think about this. If they do that, then they really don't really have to go and draft one, because they can still try to develop Manu. And Semo's will probably Semo's will sit out and probably another. Well, he won't sit out, but he'll play another year by being a backup, because Glasgow ain't going anywhere. So.
Glasgow will still be there, and then Kingsley.
But once they do that, I mean, you get Manu and if Manu works out, and then you got Semo, that's your replacements to your 2 guards right there.
Sure, and Mekhi is still in his prime. He's only like 26 or 27 years old. Like, you could get him on a couple of years. I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, I think the Eagles are waiting for the market to go down on him, or the demand to go down on him. Maybe they'll re-sign him. But, I mean, that would be a great play for Brad to take that away from Howie. Like, hey, Mekhi, come play for us. We need a guard. We need a plug-and-play guard.
Brett, it's Wyatt Millam. Wyatt Millam, Brett. That's who it is. He likes the tackle from West Virginia, projected as a guard, but they got him as tackle in here. Wyatt
Yeah.
Millam.
Yeah, and also people need to understand too. A lot of these tackles that have short arms are probably going to play guard.
Mm-hmm.
So unless these tackles have longer arms, they're more likely going to be suited at guard. Because your elite tackles are going to go in the top 10. Like, if you're not top 10, you're not going to be a tackle. Like, I don't know any tackles that went past top 10 that maybe just fell for some crazy freaking reason. Even Panay went at 8. Like top 10 is where your top tackles are going to go. I think Joe Alt went last year in the top 10 too. So anything outside the top 10, you're probably looking at a guard situation more likely, or at least starting them at guard and then working your way to tackle at some point. That's what I'm saying. Manu, man, he would be perfect for that role. Like, put him at guard, try him at guard, see how he does, and at some point you're gonna have to move him to tackle, or you just keep him at guard. I don't know. I just want to see that combination of Panay and Manu on the same side. Oh my God, that's a lot of beef coming at you. And we know Panay loves to just run over people. Always. Shoot. But yeah, Mekhi Becton makes sense. That makes the smartest sense. Go sign him to a couple of years. Give him some money. Give him like a CJ GJ kind of deal. I don't know what they paid him when he first came here, but give him like a CJ GJ kind of deal, a prove it deal. And then like you said, you've got other guys as options and backups, and go from there. I am surprised they moved off of Coyote, man, because they liked Coyote.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if that was more of a situation where Coyote just wanted to go somewhere to have a chance to start, or they just like, dude, yeah, we're gonna move on from you. I don't know how these tenders things work, where they decide to tender or they don't tender. Oh, HBCU players, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're hit or miss, man. James Houston was an HBCU player, and he had a good first season and then kind of fell out. The only thing I would say about HBCU players, and it's no knock against the league or anything like that, it's the level of competition. Like, they're not constantly going against the SECs or the Big Tens or the Pac-12s or the Big 12, linemen. So you don't know how good they're going to be. And I think that's what Houston's situation is. Houston dominated at HBCU, got an offer to go to Florida, played well at Florida, and then came to the NFL and dominated for 8 games. And then after that, you heard nothing from him.
Right. He's on the Browns now, isn't he, Houston?
No, they released him. He's a free agent.
Oh, yeah? Damn.
We could pick him up. We could pick him up if we wanted to. So funny.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm not really high up on that whole situation. I understand where Brett's coming out with the HBCU players. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, Brad. I think didn't Brad come from an HBCU college? I think he did. That's why.
Brad, yeah. North Carolina State or something. AT&T, yeah.
AT and something.
Yeah, Brad was a defensive. I think Brad was. It's ironic. I think Brad was a defensive tackle or defensive lineman. How funny is that? Like, you think that would be his main focus,
right? Just like Dan Campbell and this tight end kind of thing going on. But yeah. Brad Holmes is a big dude. I'm not surprised he was a defensive tackle.
Him and Dan need to get in a fight. Hey, I'll be right back, man. Give me a sec.
All right. Yeah, that would be a good fight. I'll tell you that damn much. Let's see. Bear with me one moment because I'm going to see what we got going on here. Brad Holmes. Yeah, he went to North Carolina A&T. Yeah. See, he played as a defensive tackle under Bill Hayes. So he's got a little soft spot for the HBCU, which is cool. But like I said, like Nate said, you know, when you don't have competition levels that are gonna tweak out for you, it's gonna be, it's a different situation. So
Oh yeah, because you got to think about it. It's like the Manu situation. Like Manu looked really good in that league. Like he looked like a man amongst boys. But when you come to the NFL, everybody's big, everybody's strong, everybody's fast. You know, there's only so many people in the NFL because it's a very premier league, and you know, you've got to have the tools to do it. Not everybody does. That's why you see a lot of players that don't pan out because they don't have the tools. You know, it's not for them. But
Do you know his father? Do you know his father played offensive tackle for or offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers from 71 to 73?
Manu?
No, Brad Holmes.
No, I didn't, but that surprised me.
He is also the nephew of former Detroit Lions defensive back Luther Bradley, a 78 first
like you
round.
Wikipedia him.
Yeah, I did. I don't see. I was interested.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people really don't think Brad Holmes knows what he knows, but he knows a lot. He played the game. He's been a college scout his whole before he came to Detroit. Worked under Les Snead, one of the better GMs in the NFL. He learned a lot, and he's just hit things out of the ballpark. You know, in his career with the Lions. Like, you know, we were talking earlier off the radio about Howie Roseman. I think when you look at those two and compare them, it's different styles, because Howie is more in tune with the NFL and trading and making aggressive signings in free agency. He's a good drafter. He's recently got better at drafting. He's missed on a lot. If you look at some of his track records in the past, he's missed on a lot of players, probably more than Brad has. And then when you look at Brad is a great evaluator and talent scout for college. Like, he understands the college game very much. Like, there's no joke, he goes to these games for a reason. Like, he likes to watch the best players play. You know, his thing is free agency. I still think he's still kind of learning that, and that's why Ray Agnew is so key for him, because Ray Agnew is the free agent guy. He's the NFL dude. He's the one that he puts a lot of responsibility on Ray to find the players in free agency and come to him like, hey, we should look at this player for the Lions. You know, like, it kind of sucks too, because it kind of handicaps Brad in a sense, because Brad, he probably defers a lot of the free agency and NFL to Ray. And when Ray's gone, which I think Ray will be gone at some point, I think the Jets were trying to interview him. I thought he was going to be gone when AG became coach. But then Brad's going to have to really figure that shit out, you know. But right now, it's fine. I mean, but Brad will be aggressive in the draft, to where Howie's more aggressive in free agency, in signings and bringing in players he feels they're better fits that are available. You know what I'm saying? The Saquon Barkley was a no-brainer. I mean, come on. Saquon Barkley's out there, and you need a running back, and you got one of the best O-lines in the NFL. I think pretty much any damn team would have took him if they had that kind of asset. Hell, we would have did it. If we didn't have Gibbs and Monty, we probably would have signed Saquon. I would have almost guaranteed.
It's availability. That's what that is. That whole thing is availability.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I say it's kind of an unfair comparison, because I think those two GMs do different things and excel in different ways, you know. But they're damn good at what they do. Like, Brad Holmes is right up there with Howie Roseman. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, I mean, don't be the homer and say that, because first of all, Brad Holmes has had his share of mistakes, just as Howie does, and Howie actually has done stuff with his draft picks and his team. Like I said, I made that. He has 3 Super Bowls since he took over as a GM and a XO. So, you know, and he's won 2 of them. So he's doing something right.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
recently he's hit on more of his draft picks. If you look at some of the past draft classes he's had, he's missed on some too. Not to mention, like I said, this is always going to be Howie's blunder. You draft Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, everybody's going to make those mistakes. We drafted Eric Ebron. I mean, it wasn't Brad Holmes' draft, but every team makes them kind of every GM makes them kind of mistakes.
I don't understand that one. I don't understand that one, man. Justin Jefferson,
Ebron over Aaron Donald. That Aaron Donald and then we at the time we had Sue. Could you imagine both of them in the middle of the damn? And then we had Cliff Averill. We had Cliff Averill on the end, and then who we have on the other end that was good? What was his name?
Yeah, but
Cliff Averill went to Seattle.
Ask yourself that question: does Brad Holmes draft Ebron? Does he draft? Does he miss on Aaron Donald? No.
Well,
his track record tells me enough that he would not make those dumb moves. Those are idiotic moves. Because for one, he's a trench guy. He believes in the trenches. He's always adding in the trenches, whether it's O-line, whether it's D-line. He adds in the trenches. The thing is, too, that I think people need to understand is pass rushing, to find pass rushers that are good, that are going to be game changers, that are going to be elite, are very hard to find. There's a reason why they go in the top 5 in drafts most of the time, and we lucked out that we sucked one year so bad. Well, no, actually, yeah, we did, because it was part of the Stafford trade. But we sucked so bad that Aiden Hutchinson fell into our laps because Jacksonville can't draft an end. You know.
Yeah, I think the thing with Brad, though, and this is the difference between him and Howie, Brad can draft pretty well, but his free agent pickups are bad. He picks up a lot of guys that are injury prone. He tried to bargain shop too much, and he shouldn't do that. He should, go after some big players once in a while to solidify your. Like for instance, this year we need a defensive end. You can't sew that shit up with Lawrence. You can't sew it even with Smith. Even if we got Smith, that might be a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
But you have to go after a good defensive end, and if he does it through the draft, then I can forgive him on that one. But
he's gonna have to do it through the draft because if you look at the free agency, you're not giving big money to any of the guys that are out there.
Broski Bear asked.
Even though he put that goodbye thing, I still think that we could still be in play for Z because he posted out a picture of a ring and it's 99 with the Detroit Lions on it. Why would you put that out there? I think he was on the beach.
Memories. Tim Patrick, Broski Bear says, "Hi, Tim Patrick, back with the Lions. Your thoughts?"
Love it, man. It solidifies the receiving core right now. You've got 4 good receivers. And then if Green's still on the roster, like he said he is, Green should get a spot. Like, I would love to have Antoine Green on this team, But yeah, it solidifies the receiving core. That's all it does.
Actually, Broski's got 3 in the last 8 years, but he lost one of those. So,
he is. I disagree with that because, like I said, they're two contrasting styles. Howie is more aggressive when it comes to free agency and signings, to where Brad is more aggressive in the draft. Like, they're two contrasting styles. They both can help you win. But yeah, I agree with you, B. Like, at some point, you got to take the training wheels off and you got to just, put the big boy pants on and take a shot, But I think also, too, he defers a lot to Ray Agnew, man. Like, Ray Agnew is kind of like the buffer between free agency, Ray, and Brad. Like, there's a reason why he brings Ray into the press conferences, because Ray is a big part of their acquisition for free agency. Like, I don't know if Lion fans focus or know who that is or focus their attention on it, but I see it all the time. Anytime he has a press conference, he always brings in Ray. Now, half the questions don't go to Ray, but but he brings it in for a reason because he is the free agency guy. He is the dude that handles free agency and then reports to Brad. So, to where Howie probably reports to himself. He probably does it all. He does the draft. He does free agency. I mean, he has people he works with. There's no doubt. But I just truly believe, because Brad was a college NFL scout. Like, that was his role behind Les Snead, and he did a good job. You know, he got him a lot of good players by drafting. He's doing the same thing with Detroit. He's finding players through the draft, and you've got to build through the draft. Because look at Chicago. There was a great point made about Chicago, about Ryan Poles. Like, yeah, Chicago made all these signings. They brought all these dudes in. But the reality is that it's an earmark against Ryan Poles, because basically it's saying that Ryan Poles doesn't know how to draft, or he's not finding the right players. So Ben Johnson in 1 month turns the whole O-line upside down, and some of those players Ryan Poles drafted that they're getting rid of, or then they're now backups. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I mean.
Well, I mean, to tell you the truth, that's just a glaring need that Chicago needed to make anyway, with or without Ryan Poles. I mean, I know Ryan Poles is the guy that did it, but
my
Broski Bear,
is they put a lot of draft capital in that line, and it's still bad. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they've
Broski
exhausted
Bear,
draft capital. What's he saying?
Hey, Broski Bear, who do you guys want to draft? Who do you want to draft if you're still on here? Who do you want to draft for the Bears? Because it's more of a team thing, and Brent's been on here.
It's gonna be Genty. I'm telling you. I know you're gonna say no about it. It's gonna be Genty.
It's not gonna be Genty. I'm telling you, it doesn't make a difference. They're revamping the whole line to protect Caleb. They're not revamping the line to run the ball. But they got Swift. Swift is capable of running. If any running back that has a good offensive line is going to be a good running back. I mean, any running back that has a good offensive line is going to be a good running back.
But we know what's successful in the NFL is a two-back system. Who's their second back?
They got two backs. Their second back is it Rashard? Oh, what the hell is his name? Chicago.
I'm telling you, it's going to be Genty.
Can you believe I'm looking up Chicago? No, Raiders got that in the bag. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, I think they traded.
Because they got a quarterback. Let's see.
We'll see who's right. There's enough noise out there saying it could be Genty. I'm not the only one saying that.
There's a lot of noise saying that the Rams are going to take. I mean, the Raiders are going to take Genty. So, I mean, whatever.
I mean, they should definitely take that. I mean, but they have to have the other running back too. What's his name? The one from Georgia, White. They liked him, but I think they're similar backs.
Okay, here we go. Damn, this damn website is fucking ridiculous. Okay,
it's Roschon Johnson, dude.
Roschon, yeah. Hold on, though.
I don't know. I'm still debating on that guy. I would go for Genty if Genty's there. I think he's a huge upgrade over Roschon. But, we'll see.
They got Ian Wheeler, too. He's on a reserve list right now. He's hurt. Who else? They got That's all they got is running back. Wait a minute. Hold on.
They got Homer. Travis Homer. He's on the roster.
Not according to this, he ain't.
I mean, it would be smart.
They got Swift, Roschon Johnson, and then Ian Wheeler as a on a reserve. So they only got three running backs. So the depth needs to be put there. I mean, I guess they could, but I think the Raiders have a plan.
I mean, if they wanted to upgrade the running back position, Genty makes sense. But like you said, I think if the Raiders weren't so in love with him, I think that he's probably going to be a Raider because they do need a running back. And Pete Carroll likes to run the football. He's an old school type of dude.
Who's Johnson, Brett?
He's talking about Roschon.
Roschon. Oh no. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Patrick get 500 to 650 yards. He can stay healthy all season. Okay. Brett saying that. I guess Broski got off. Well, anyway, we have come to the point where it has been an hour for our spot, and we will be back on Monday at 2 p.m. One Ass Cheek, Three Toes. Me and my compadre Nate. I'm surprised that
I'll be back, Pete. But hey, thanks
all
for
right.
having me on. I'll be back. Okay.
Yes, sir. So we'll check you out next week. Again, check us out Sunday at 4 p.m. One Ass Cheek, Three Toes with my co-host Nate and Jay. And we'll be talking Lions football all the way through. Have a great one.